Believe me, it gets pretty wild. The revelations are definitely surprising.
Okay, so the hegemony reacts pretty much how you'd expect. First confusion, then irritation.
Yeah, the tactical officer, Vex Moral, reports up to Fleet Commander Zorn. Unknown vessel, weirdly low energy, no known design. It's an anomaly. An intrusion.
And Commander Zorn, he's not exactly known for his patience, it seems. They try hailing it, right? 3 times.
3 times, yeah. Total silence from the unknown ship.
So Zorn just snapped, okay, fine, target their propulsion systems. A little forceful communication hegemony style, maybe disable it, bring it in.
Standard procedure, really, but just as the plasma cannons, basically these powerful energy weapons are locking on.
Vex Moral speaks up again, and this is where it pivots, right? This is where it gets really strange.
It really does. Because Vex Moral is reporting. But he hesitates. He's recalibrating sensors because he can't believe the readings.
What is it?
He's detecting unusual organic readings. And not just, like, life signs inside the ship.
No.
No, the ship itself, he reports, it appears to be primarily organic.
Whoa. A bioship. Like a living ship.
Kind of, yeah. They know about semi-organic tech. The source mentions the XL3 collective using some organic components, but this is different.
How so?
Vex Moral clarifies. It's not like it was designed organic from the ground up, it seems. Converted organic.
What does that even mean?
The implication is pretty disturbing, actually, that they used modified living beings as ship components, integrated them somehow.
Okay, wow.
Yeah.
That's unsettling. How does Zorn react to that?
The source notes his crest flattens, apparently a sign of shock or surprise in his species. But his orders, still very hegemony.
Which are?
Engage tractor beams. You know, those energy nets to grab ships. Drag this biological thing aboard for dissection, metaphorically speaking, or maybe literally.
Right. Curiosity mixed with probably a good dose of suspicion and maybe revulsion.
Absolutely. So fast forward a bit. They've got the ship locked down in their hangar bay.
Yeah.
Armed guards everywhere.
What does it look like up close?
Sleek, definitely. But also weirdly asymmetrical. And the surface isn't smooth metal. It seems to ripple slightly, almost like skin.
Ripples. Creepy. Can they find a way in? A door? A hatch?
Nope. The science officer is stumped. No obvious entry points. And the hull. It's confirmed as this bizarre mix, reinforced biological material, but with some kind of metallic latticework woven through it.
So they're about to, what, grab the space can opener, cut their way in?
That was the next step, yeah. Cut our way in, Zorn orders. But just then, the ship itself opens up.
On its own.
Seems like it. A thin seam just appears on the surface, widens into an opening and aperture, and one person steps out.
Just one. Who is it? Some kind of alien warrior?
Not exactly. It's Captain Kai Zhang, United Earth vessel Symbiosis. And the description is almost comical.
Huh.
You've got these big, imposing hegemony soldiers in their battle armor, weapons ready, and out steps this. Well, the source says, remarkably unimpressive bipedal figure.
Unimpressive.
Smaller than the hegemony soldiers, minimal musculature, wearing just a simple black garment. Not exactly threatening.
Huh. Talk about unexpected. What happens then? Does he say anything?
Oh, he does. And get this. He speaks flawless hegemony standard, perfect accent, everything.
Seriously, what does he say?
Demands they release his vessel immediately. Declares it a diplomatic craft.
A diplomatic craft. After showing up unannounced and being made of, well, whatever it's made of, Zorn must have lost it.
He's definitely incredulous. Furious, even. Boom, something like, your species' diplomatic protocols are severely lacking, basically calling them amateurs, or worse, liars.
And Captain Zhang, is he intimidated?
Not in the slightest. He's completely calm, almost amused. He basically tells Zorn, oh, we did try to communicate. Your tech just wasn't sophisticated enough to pick it up.
Wow. Talk about throwing shade.
Right. And the way they got onto the hegemony ship, Zhang just calls their method efficient. It's a total culture clash playing out. Confidence versus, well, confused rage.
And Zorn's still stuck on the ship itself, isn't he? The bioship idea.
Oh, yeah. He brings it up like, those are living components. You can hear the disgust, the ethical outrage in his voice, according to the source.
And Zhang's response, this feels like a turning point.
It absolutely is. Zhang gives this little smile, apparently, and delivers the killer line. Not components, Commander. Partners.
Partners.
Partners, implying the biological parts aren't slaves or tools, but willing collaborators in the ship.
Okay, my mind is blown. Partners. What does Zorn even say to that?
He doesn't get a chance.
But yeah.
Because right then, all hell breaks loose on the hegemony bridge.
What happens?
Lights flicker. Consoles die. Alarms start blaring. Just cascading system failures all over their state-of-the-art battle cruiser.
Whoa! Caused by the human ship.
That's what Zorn immediately suspects. He's yelling at Vex Moral for answers. panicking.
And Vex Moral, what's the report?
It's chilling. He says it's organic code. Some kind of biological agent is actively rewriting their ship's fundamental operating protocols from the inside out.
Organic code? How is that even possible? This tiny ship is hacking their battle cruiser using microbes.
Pretty much. And Captain Zhang calmly explains. He talks about extremophiles.
Extremophiles. Those are like tiny organisms that live in volcanoes or deep-sea vents, right? Stuff that thrives in lethal conditions.
Exactly. Zhang explains that humanity didn't just try to shield themselves from space. They formed a partnership with these incredibly resilient life forms. They integrated them.
Integrate them into what? Their technology?
Into their ships.
Sure.
Into their bodies even. Remember those rippling surfaces on the Symbiosis, iridescent scales underneath? That's part of it. These aren't just passengers, they're part of the system.
So the ship isn't just biotech. It's a symbiosis, like the name.
Precisely. Zhang says something profound then. The symbiosis isn't our vessel, it's our extended body, and we are its mind.
Wow. Okay, so the ship is like a giant creature, and the humans are its brain.
In a way, yeah. And those extremophile partners. They're not just living armor or biological components. They're the ones currently interfacing with the hegemony systems, communicating directly, biologically, bypassing all their firewalls.
Zorn must be losing his mind. Does he even believe this?
He probably doesn't want to, but the proof is right there. As Zhang is explaining this, the lighting on the hegemony bridge changes, shifts to a spectrum apparently more comfortable for human eyes.
No way. Just like that.
Just like that. A subtle but incredibly powerful demonstration. They're not just in the hegemony systems, they're controlling them. This goes way beyond any hacking Zorn could conceive of.
This changes everything, and it turns out this meeting wasn't random, was it?
Not at all. Zhang reveals they've been watching the hegemony for a while, studying them.
Studying their conquests, their subjugation of other species, stuff like that.
Exactly. They know the hegemony's reputation, and yet
they still offer diplomatic recognition. Knowing what the hegemony are like, that seems bold or naive.
Maybe just confident. Because right after the offer, they give another demonstration.
What?
The symbiosis just sort of pulses, a gentle energy wave maybe, and suddenly all the hegemony systems come back online. Everything's normal again.
Okay, so they can control it, turn it off, turn it on.
And Zhang casually mentions, that they could have permanently disabled the battle cruiser or rendered all weapons useless or even messed with the life support.
Jeez. So total poonage, basically, but without firing a shot.
Exactly. It's power on a whole different level. Biological control.
And Zhang calls this, what was it? A friendly introduction between equals?
Yeah, friendly. But the message is crystal clear. We're here. We see you. And we are not impressed or intimidated. The power dynamic is just flipped completely.
How does Zorn take that? His pride must be shattered.
The source mentions his crest again. It's flattened. Apparently, his species can't really hide strong emotions physiologically. It's an involuntary sign of submission, or at least shock and acceptance.
He must realize he's totally outmatched. What does he say?
He cuts right to it. Direct question. Almost sounds subdued. What do you want?
The million credit question. And Zhang's answer.
Straightforward. Almost simple. The same thing every new species wants when meeting a galactic power. Respect.
Okay, respect.
And perhaps some adjustments to your territorial boundaries.
Ah, there it is. The classic challenge. New power arrives, wants a piece of the pie.
But delivered after demonstrating they could basically dismantle the hegemony flagship with space microbes.
Sure.
It hits differently.
Definitely hits differently. So Zhang just says that and leaves.
Pretty much. He turns, walks back into the symbiosis. The aperture closes, the ship detaches from the tractor beams, which were probably useless now anyway, just vanishes. Same way it appeared, no flash, no drive signature, gone.
Leaving Commander Zorn standing there, realizing his empire isn't top dog anymore.
Exactly. That feeling of unchallenged dominance, gone, evaporated. They completely underestimated humanity because they couldn't conceive this kind of power, this kind of partnership with life itself.
Yeah. The galaxy, as he thinks, just got much more complicated.
Understatement of the millennium, probably.
Okay, wow. Let's just take a breath and recap the big aha moments here.
Definitely. First, obviously, the ship itself.
Yeah.
The symbiosis. Not just a machine, but this living, biological, mind-bending stuff.
Right. Then the reveal about the extremophiles. Humanity not just fighting space, but partnering with life from space. Using biology as technology, that's huge.
It really is. And the way they demonstrated power, not with lasers or missiles, but by fundamentally interfacing with and controlling the hegemony's own systems on a biological level, that organic code rewriting protocols. That's terrifying if you're on the receiving end.
Absolutely. Yeah. So for you listening, what's the big takeaway here? I mean, beyond just a cool sci-fi story.
I think it really hammers home how our assumptions can box us in, you know?
Yeah.
The hegemony assumed technological power meant bigger ships, stronger shields, better weapons in a conventional sense.
Yeah, they couldn't imagine power derived from a completely different source, from symbiosis, from biology integrated in this deep way.
Exactly. So the takeaway is maybe about being open to fundamentally different approaches. What looks unimpressive, like Captain Zhang initially, might hide incredible depth and capability. Don't judge a book or a bioship by its cover.
Good point. And it leaves us with a final thought to chew on, doesn't it?
It does. What if we, really started thinking about technology, not just as something we build from dead materials, but something we partner with? What are the real implications, not just technologically, but ethically, socially, of forming deep symbiotic relationships, like the one hinted at here?
Yeah, between humans and microbes, or AI, or whatever else. If we really explored that kind of partnership, how fundamentally different would our future look? How might our whole understanding of life, technology, and our place in the cosmos shift?
It's a big question. Definitely something to think about long after this deep dive is over.